The Miz is here.
Ready?
I'm
ready?
I was born ready.
Ron Funches ready.
We're ready.
One of my favorite shows on NBC.
Yeah?
Got canceled. Undateable. I was so aggravated when it got canceled.
Were you?
Aggravated.
Thank you so much. That's great to hear from
like
the greatest
the live version of that
intercontinental
show.
champion of all time.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
You know what I really love too?
What do you love?
That Norton couldn't be here. Isn't that amazing?
He did it on purpose.
I think he did too.
Yeah.
I don't think I forgot about what happened at WrestleMania.
Well, we were.
Let me paint a picture for everyone out
Okay.
there. This
All
is the
right.
most must-see
Here's
WWE
the
superstar of all
promo.
time, The Miz.
Okay.
And we were at WrestleMania, and good old Sam and Jim Norton were having their
Yep.
show there. They were inside the Elimination Chamber. They had the pick of the litter. They had everything. They
Best
were
seats in the house.
Best seats in
Yep.
the house for Media Day.
Oh, yes.
I start early in the morning, and I start going off on every single meeting. I couldn't wait. Couldn't wait to get to Sam and Jim because I just watched Jim's comedy special on
Right.
Netflix, and I was like, I couldn't wait to talk to him about it. You know, give him a little promotion, get a little buzz started about it, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, let him know the Miz is watching you.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm watching. I stayed up all night watching your comedy special, and I wanted to tell him how much I liked it.
That's so great.
So then we go through the whole day. It was like 4 hours of just nonstop talking WrestleMania at every interview, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to be the last interview of Jim and Sam.
Right.
I thought this is going to be it, right?
And you're probably also thinking all these other interviews are getting repetitive.
Yeah,
it's the same WrestleMania
same
question.
Old thing.
Yeah,
I'm kind of bored.
Right.
You know, I want to get in there. And what happens? As I'm stepping up to the Elimination Chamber, getting ready to go on this interview, they go, "Oh, Sam and Jim are done. They're not doing any more interviews."
wrapped.
And they wrapped up. And I didn't get to have my interview with Jim and Sam. I
No.
did everyone else.
No.
They were the only ones I didn't get to get. So when I come here today, I'm
Right.
thinking, you know what? Today will be the day I could talk to Jim about his comedy special on Netflix
Right.
and how much I enjoyed it.
I-
And who sits in for him?
Ron Funches is
Good
here.
old Ron Funches. But you know what? I'm happy about that because I like I said, I was a huge Undateable fan.
Thank you
I
so
thought
much.
the live version was so much fun.
Thank you.
Was it fun? How hard was that?
It was hard, but also it was freeing because you're like, oh, you're gonna mess up. You're
Yeah.
gonna make a mistake.
Yeah, is there
so-
something? Is it kind of easier about doing it live because then you just do it once? There's no retakes. There's
There's no-
no anything.
Oh
But-
yeah,
it's just
the
but-
hours are much better.
But
Right.
if you stumble your words, you know,
Yeah.
it's that's the hard part. Even with WWE, I will stumble words because sometimes I get so aggravated and frustrated that the words just don't come out. Like, you know, when you're aggravated, you
Totally.
can't speak.
Yeah.
That's how mad I get sometimes when I'm in the ring.
Yeah, I can see it.
And-
But you know what? But that's why it works. Like some guys, when they stumble over words live, it's like, oh, because you can see in their eyes they're trying to remember
Yeah,
something, and
trying
it's
to
like
read that
that's
script.
That's awful. As long as your face gets all beat red and the vein in your forehead starts going. So when you start stumbling on words,
Thanks.
it's
So I
like
look ugly when I'm mad, is what you're saying.
you look
yeah.
mad.
Well, yeah.
I do get really
You
mad.
look angry.
Yeah.
You know. But I did.
so
I
when
believe
when
it.
you guys were doing it, do you guys rehearse a lot? Did
Yeah.
you rehearse a lot?
Yeah, you just you rehearse all through the week. It was like I always say it was like the closest I got to being like on a sports team because you would just practice, and then you have your game.
Who would mess up the most?
Brent Morin, he would mess up.
He
the
had a
most.
lot of verbiage though.
Yeah, he did.
He always had he was always fast talking
Oh yeah.
Why didn't you give less lines to the guy who messed up the most?
because he's the main character.
I mean,
Yeah.
but you could still, if he messes up all the time, let's
Yeah. No,
diminish.
that's
It was kind
probably-
of funny when he did it though.
Yeah?
When he would mess up, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, no, it worked, and that's what was good with me. Like I didn't have I would always have like just little jokes, so I just walk through, do my line, and be
You would
like,
steal the show though with just one line.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I always thought that, but it's nice to hear.
No, it is. That's why you got the show on NBC as well, the superhero show, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let me ask you about live TV.
All right,
because
go ahead.
you've had your moments, but I feel like
Oh, you want to ask me questions
I
now?
do. I would.
Now you want to ask me
I would like to
questions?
ask you some questions.
6 months later,
Yeah, well,
after
I
WrestleMania,
also
you
thought it was-
snubbed me at WrestleMania.
I thought it was so funny that Jim wasn't going to be here because you've told me how upset you were about that. Like for months, you've been telling me
Every
how
time I
pissed.
see you,
Yes.
I literally,
Yes.
I'll never forget the time you snubbed me.
And now Jim's not.
And now
even
Jim's not here. Like I even said, I can't wait to see Jim and Sam. He's like, oh, Jim's not here. I go, what? Excuse me.
Well, I want to know about the live TV moment that you had because you very rarely. I don't know if I've seen you quote unquote mess up in many, many, many years at this point, but you've gotten very good at getting out of situations that could be a mess up. And I think that's why they put you on TV so much. But How was the Ball family?
LeVar Ball?
The LeVar
Yes.
Ball family.
I was there for that.
So what did you think of it? You were there.
I was there, and then I left.
So that's how good it went.
Yeah. So like Miz does a segment called Miz TV where it's an interview segment, and LeVar Ball comes out with his 2 kids, and I guess the thought was, since the one kid is going to, at that point, he wasn't on the Lakers yet, or was he?
He was. So this was the first time that Lonzo Ball would be at Staples Center,
Right.
as a Los Angeles Laker,
Right.
an official Los Angeles Laker. And so I walk into into their dressing room to go over the script. You know, like, hey, do you want to go over kind of it's kind of a baseline. This is what we're kind of looking for. Do you want to go over it? He goes, no, we're good.
That's what
I go,
LeVar said.
Yes. I go, are you sure? He goes, no, we're good. I go, all right. So I guess we're just going to wing it out there. Sounds like a plan.
It really is amazing, and I think that it's unique to wrestling, because like nobody would go on SNL and act like, no, don't worry, we know what we're doing. Don't worry about you SNL people. But people think with wrestling that oh, this silly wrestling stuff, I'll be able to go out there and I'm going to look super cool.
It's one of the toughest jobs out there.
Absolutely.
Like you're performing in front of a live audience and you have hecklers. I mean, you're a stand-up comic. Hecklers can really get in your head.
Yeah.
Imagine if there's 13,000 of them.
And they're encouraged to heckle. At comedy clubs, they throw you out.
Yeah.
At wrestling shows, they're like, no, more,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, give us more, more. And sometimes it's encouraged, but sometimes there's like one person that you can hear over everybody else, and it's just like, oh, this is so annoying.
You just
I
hate
want to
him.
go over there and smack this guy. But you obviously don't. And no one else can hear him besides you.
Right.
And a
Yeah.
couple people standing beside him.
So then you look like the asshole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, whatever. But LeVar, like, I really like LeVar Ball. I really do. I think he's just a character. And the way him and his son kind of go off of each other, like Lonzo's very quiet.
Right.
And it's very much like a person that like is like his promoter. And he just, this guy, and everyone hates the promoter, but you can't help but like Lonzo because he's just a quiet kid and keeps his head down and works hard to try to be the best he possibly can be. The thing I like about LeVar is that he promotes his kids. Like, he is so supportive of his children. Like, no matter what they do.
Right.
Whether they're in China doing something, whether the kid is dropping bombs on Monday Night Raw, he always stands behind them and always supports them.
So when LeVar starts kind of coming at you and takes his shirt off, because it felt in that moment like that was not something that had been pre-planned.
It was not planned.
And he starts getting up on the ropes and stuff.
No, it was not. And I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to let him do his thing because guess what? People are going to be talking about it for months on end. And swear to you, I've been doing media for the past 2 days for the Challenge Champs versus Stars, and that is one of the number one questions I get asked is about LeVar Ball. That's how much of an impact he has. People are always like, I can't stand LeVar Ball. I hate talking about. Why are we talking about him? Because the guy knows how to create controversy and create drama. That's why he has a reality show on Facebook, and I applaud him for it.
Yeah.
He's one of those people that is like you love to hate him, but no matter what you're talking about him, he's a Kardashian, if you will.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, and as a guy who's perfected the role of bad guy, like that, you kind of appreciate that, I would assume, more than most.
I love it.
Right.
For me personally, it's the way that they often portray a lot of black fathers in the media. It's just cool to see such an active father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, my dad, I'll call him every Monday and go, Dad, what'd you think of the show? Man, Kofi Kingston is so good, isn't he? What, Dad, did you see what I did? Well, yeah, you were okay. But I mean, man, these other guys are something, man. Roman Reigns, did you see how big he is? Did you see him do that Superman punch to you? Yes, Dad, I seen him punch me right in the face. That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw it coming, and then it made contact.
Yeah, then it made contact. That's great, Dad. And so it's cool to see a dad who is so supportive of his children.
Now, is there a part of you, too, that goes like, okay, because honestly, your role in that position is to make the segment work, right?
Yeah.
Because the Ball family, that's not where they are. But do you realize...
I keep it rolling. I keep it going. And that's exactly what I did. When I felt like things were getting awkward or weird, I would move on. And so that's kind of what we did. And sometimes you can't control it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. When people don't cooperate with you, do you get to a point where you're just like, you know what? I'm going to let you do it then.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Go ahead.
That's exactly what you do. And then you just keep them on track of where we're going with the story and where we need to go. And otherwise, you just let them be, because guess what? People are going to be talking, and that's exactly what you want. No matter what, that clip is looked at all the time on YouTube. It's
everywhere.
looked out everywhere. So sometimes the train wrecks are what people want to see. Look at every reality show out there.
Right.
The train wrecks are what people want to see. And the Challenge Champs versus Stars that's coming out this Tuesday has all of that.
Right.
It has the drama, it has the comedy. It has a little bit of everything that you want. It has Terrell Owens, who is one of the most dramatic people in all of the NFL. Granted, he is one of the greatest NFL wide receivers of all time, but you put him up against a guy like CT, how's he going to fare in that challenge?
Yeah.
Did you like that? Did you like
I
that term?
love
It was
that.
so
I'm
great.
Just watching it,
It
I'm
was so great.
learning. Oh, it's just good work.
How do you react in your own head when that little kid drops the N-bomb in the middle of live TV?
I didn't hear it.
You didn't?
I didn't hear. You know, there's so much going on, and I think it was during Dean Ambrose's music.
It was.
So you can't really in the ring. Sometimes you can't even hear the person that is speaking to you. Like, I'm literally a really good lip reader a lot of the times, because there's so much.
I was with you on one of the pre-shows recently, and like when we do the pre-shows, you have to have earpieces in there turned up way loud because they're in the middle of the crowd. And Miz came on to say something to Kurt Angle, and like I'm looking at the Miz, and he's going back and forth with Kurt Angle, but he didn't, because he just kind of ran onto the set. He wasn't wearing earpieces, so I'm looking.
I didn't
at
hear
this.
a word he said.
I'm like, there's no way you could hear a word that he said.
I was lip reading. I just lipped, and I know where I want to go, and I know what I'm doing, and it's kind of like I just rip into people, and then when I listen to them, I'll be like, all right, I think he probably said something along these lines, because obviously he's going to disagree with whatever I say.
Yeah.
So whatever his disagreement is, I can just go off of it.
Have you gotten to the point where you have, like, I don't know if it's a chip on your shoulder, but the confidence of being like, you know what, I've definitely paid
Deserve
my
this.
dues. I deserve to
definitely-
be in
yeah.
the spot that I'm in.
I think I'm at a confidence level now that I've never had before in WWE. I've always been very confident, but this is a whole nother level where I know what I'm doing, I know where I want to go, and I know what I need to do. There was an interview that I actually listened to with John Cena where he said, like, he's an elite level athlete. He's elite, and he needs to make people elite whenever he goes up against them. And I was like, God, as much as I hate to give him credit where credit is due, it's exactly right. If you're an elite talent, you cannot allow anyone that comes into your, I guess, eliteness and take you down. You have to be able to make them rise to your level.
Right.
And what I would do normally is, like, I don't know if I would go to their level or whatever, or I would just let things be. And now I don't let things be.
Right.
I know what I'm doing. I know how to get people to talk, how to listen, and how to make something really memorable. And that's exactly what I set out to do. Like this thing with Baron Corbin I've been having with on Survivor Series. We have Survivor Series this Sunday. I knew we were going to have zero TV time to do anything because he's on SmackDown Live and I'm on Raw. And we have a match. It's the Intercontinental Champion versus United States Champion. This should be a huge, monumental match, and we were giving no TV time. So literally, he came off at me on social media, and people laugh and go, "Oh, it's social media." But believe it or not, a lot of people watch social media.
It could be a bigger audience than the TV audience.
That sometimes, yeah. Like I have like 1.5 million people on Instagram, 2.5 on Twitter. That's how many people are watching whatever I do. And so sometimes my friends who sometimes don't catch Raw, they'll know what I'm doing through that. So literally we created a buzz about our match through social media. And it's, I think people are more excited about it than some of the matches that have been televised and been showcased.
I like it because it lets you blur the lines a little bit more.
Exactly.
Because, I watched a lot of it, and just you being able to curse and do things where I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know. Now I'm not for sure.
Because social media is real. The TV is the TV.
Yeah.
We've all been conditioned to know it's the TV, it's a show. But once you're on your own social media accounts, well, they must really not like each other. Mm-hmm. And that's what gets you excited.
Yeah. Can
Exactly.
I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was watching you on Sports Nation. Why does Katie Nolan hate you so
She doesn't.
much?
See, you know what's funny? So I was on Sports Nation, and I've been on that a bunch of times. And so Marcellus Wiley, Michelle Beadle, and LZ, there's always a banter, you know, and I literally just go off on tangents and just start cutting promos. And so Katie Nolan came on, and they were. I think they were just putting her on every show just to get people warmed up to seeing her on ESPN. And so so she came on, and I called her sweetheart, and she kind of got thrown off, like taken aback a little bit. And so we went to commercial right after that. And right after that, I went over to her and I said, "Hey, was that okay?" She goes, "Actually, that was great. That was fantastic. That was exactly what we needed." So we came back and we kind of continued the banter, and we were talking about Bledsoe and how he said, "I don't want to be here."
Mm-hmm.
And so Katie and I were talking like, man, it'd be pretty funny if you tweeted out, "I don't want to be here." And we didn't think that everyone was going to start this whole thing on social media.
Right, because it's real.
Because it's real.
Right.
And so everyone started saying, like, there was one of two things. One, this is the greatest segment ever. Katie and Miz should have their own show.
Uh-huh.
Two, Miz is a misogynistic pig and doesn't deserve to be it. How dare him call her a sweetheart? Now, what they didn't see is behind the scenes is, so Katie had to leave and go do another show because they were putting her on everything on ESPN. And so it looked like we got in an argument and she left the show. So people put two and two together.
Yeah.
It was talked about all over everything. WWE was calling me going, "What's going on here?
We don't need you upsetting Katie Nolan."
Yeah,
Like-
but the thing was, like, we're good. Like, Katie and I are good. I think she does a great job on ESPN. And it was just one of those things that, Twitter takes its toll.
I hope she hears this and then responds like cutting a terrible
Oh
promo
my God!
on you. Just like, he's
I
lying.
hate him. He's a
can't.
liar.
Yeah.
He's terrible. How dare him? But no, I think we're definitely all good, and I've actually been invited back to Sports Nation, but I'm so busy.
You're busy.
Like, I am so busy. I literally just got back from a European tour with WWE. Had time to do my laundry and then come here for a media tour for the Challenge Champs versus Stars.
Yeah.
So it's nonstop.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible that you're
Plus
doing.
Total Divas.
And you're on Total
I know.
Divas.
My wife is
Awesome.
pregnant with our firstborn, our first daughter.
How did you? I was thinking about it as I was watching it because I liked it. I've always been a fan of when people when wrestlers use their personal lives and like really inject it. But was there any part of you that was like, I do not want to talk about my unborn child as part of this gimmick?
No.
Or were you like, yes?
I wanted to use it more. I literally came at them and said, listen, they allowed it. I thought it was really cool that we can go in the ring and say and announce to the world. I mean, WWE is where we first met.
Mm-hmm.
So, to sit there and, I met the love of my life through WWE, to get to announce in front of a huge worldwide audience that, listen, Maurice is pregnant. This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I came up with a whole storyline where I wanted to be, we're pregnant. I mean, how annoying is that?
So
like,
terrible.
Kurt Angle comes at you and goes, listen, you have a match tonight. Kurt, we're pregnant.
That would have been.
I am
dude.
so sorry, but
I love
I
that.
cannot do that. I have Lamaze class today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
how terrible would I be as a guy? Like,
You have to go on paternity leave, like
Right?
a long,
Yeah.
like
I
extended,
love
like.
that.
I'm on paternity leave.
Or you go to the shows and you go, I would be wrestling tonight, but as you know, I'm on paternity leave.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly the whole thing I wanted, but no, it's kind of not that way. So Maurice is still doing Total Divas, and she's loving it. She's having a blast on E.
Is she in the same camp as you are about like, yeah, let's take this and let's put it into the storyline. Let's put it on TV.
She's
She likes
always
it.
on board with whatever she wants. She thought it was hilarious and fun.
That's
but
awesome.
obviously WWE is not. It's dangerous. It is like, as much as we sit there and look at it. I mean, we always tell kids not to try it at home. So as Maurice and I thought, we were like, you know what? Maybe you should just take it easy. We'll do Total Divas every Wednesday on E.
There it is.
There it is. Did you like that?
Yeah, it's great. I thought it was great.
I love it.
When you're talking about your experience and where you are and being an elite athlete now, how different was working with John Cena this year at WrestleMania than 6 years ago or whatever it was?
So 6 years ago, I would say, it's not that I wasn't ready for that huge of a thing. I don't think I had the confidence that I have now.
Right.
And obviously, you live and you learn. And through the learning process, now I know that even when you don't have a title, when you're not in a main event caliber type of program, you have to remain main event level and always not allow anything to hinder that. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. Before, I'd be like, oh, okay, I can get this done. Oh, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Now I'm like, wait a second. How do I remain in the main event level scene? Like, how do people still look at me as elite, as a top star, as a top dog? And I think I've been proving myself each and every time I go out there and making memorable moments for people, watching the show and making the Intercontinental title the most prestigious it's ever been in its entirety.
Yeah.
That's the main goal that I've had the entire time having this championship, is just making it what it used to be. When I was a kid growing up, the Ultimate Warrior was on the same level as Hulk Hogan, who was the world champion at the time. And right now, what singles title do you see on Monday Night Raw each and every week?
Right.
The Intercontinental Championship.
Right. Now, let's talk about it. Challenge champs versus stars. The champs that are on the show, because the premise is like people that have been excellent on the challenge that, years ago were on Real World and Road Rules, but have done these challenges are now facing celebrities. Some of the champs, though, are people that you were on challenges with, correct?
Exactly.
So what's that interaction like?
It's great because they trust me. They know I've been through what they've been through.
I mean, it's great for you. You went on and became this even bigger and bigger and bigger star.
Yeah,
it's awesome for you.
They're so happy for for the successes that I've been awarded, that I've had. And not only that, it's great because I'm a little bit of both sides. I'm part champs, part stars. I've been where the challenge champs have been. I've done it. So I think they trust me more. And I think the stars trust me because, I know some of them as well. Ariane Andrews is on there as well from WWE. So, I know a lot of them. So it's kind of like a trusting. And it's great to be trusted because then you can light fires where fires are needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about this, too, is the fact that I always I could beat you in a challenge. And every time, there's so many people that think that they can go on the challenge and do great. So now we're getting stars the opportunity, and this isn't stars that are just athletes. These are athletes, musicians, these are comedians, and we're giving them the opportunity to put their money where their mouth is. And not only that, but they have a chance to win money for their charity. And that's what they're all fighting for, is for their own charity of their choice and raising money for it. So to put them against the greatest champs of challenge history. I mean, you got Johnny Bananas, you got CT, you got Zach, you got Wes, and you also have these dominant girls like Emily and Ashley and it's and Anissa. And then you put these stars who are NFL Hall of Fame wide receiver Terrell Owens. You have America's sweetheart, Olympic gold medalist Shawn Johnson. You have Michelle Watterson, who is an MMA fighter. You have Kim Glass, who is a silver medalist in the Olympics. I mean, you have Josh, the Bachelor. I mean, no one.
It gets no better.
No one can romance better than Josh. Maybe little Romeo.
And it's also, I mean, it's pretty amazing and remarkable that when you were doing the reality shows and when you were on the challenge, you were the Miz. Like, you were calling yourself the Miz. You were giving everybody Miz T-shirts to wear. And now it's just cool when stuff like that happens. So
that's
everybody,
one of my favorite things.
Isn't it great?
I love it.
It's a great story. It's a great underdog story. You would think I'd be cheered. Wouldn't you think so?
Well, I think about that sometimes
so relatable.
With you.
Like, man, this guy was on a reality show and he said he wanted to be the Miz in WWE. Then he went and did it. And then even when he did it, people still were like, no. And now he's succeeding. It's the true underdog story, but everyone still hates me and boos me.
It's because of your face.
Yeah. You think so?
It's the face.
I'm too good looking. That's what it is.
I think about that with you, that why is it just that you don't carry yourself like an underdog. You carry yourself like you're entitled to it.
Yeah, you look like
makes
the background in the Smooth Criminal video.
I feel like the same thing. The same thing happens to me. Nobody treats me like an underdog. Everybody treats me like a douchebag. So,
because you are.
That might be it too.
I mean, you're the same guy that snubbed me.
Yeah, no, you're right.
An underdog,
you're right.
An underdog would never snub
no,
the Miz.
You're right.
An underdog would talk to an underdog.
You're
but
right.
no, you snubbed me.
I have a question because I'm going the other way. I'm going from comedy, and now in January I'm going to start training in wrestling. And so I want some
Are you
advice.
kidding me?
No. I'm going to the Santino Brothers Wrestling School in Southern California. January 8th's my start date. So I just want, I want to come in respectful, and I want people to take me seriously. But also probably I also probably want to work more your style. I'm not going to be a high flyer. That's for sure.
Well, who needs it? If you have the charisma, the gift of gab, you don't need it. Like, as much as people are like, oh, this, that, and the other thing, like, I can make an audience boo or cheer and think it's the greatest match of all time. Like, watch John Cena versus The Miz at WrestleMania this year. And literally, the crowd is on its feet. The crowd is chanting. And honestly, we really didn't do that much. We just told a great story, and that's what people want nowadays. They want larger-than-life characters, and they want a great story, a story that they can ingest and literally look at and go, "Wow, what a great story."
Well, I think that was one of the moments that really solidified you, because on paper, when people heard about that WrestleMania match happening this year, people were rolling their eyes and going, "I don't want to." Nikki Bella and John Cena and Mike and Marie, I don't want to see, but the minute that the four of you got in the ring together, people were like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever.
Exactly.
And it was because of the story that was being told.
Yeah. Sometimes that's if you're a great storyteller, look at Ric Flair's 30 for 30.
Yeah, amazing.
Amazing, right? Why? Because Ric Flair is one of the greatest storytellers inside and outside the ring.
Right.
And
now,
he can make you feel.
Do you think you could beat Ron Funches in a match?
In a match? Right now? Right after his training, I don't know. But you were asking for advice.
Yes.
The best advice I've ever gotten was from Billy Kidman. It was 2002. We were at the Playboy Mansion. I just began training at Ultimate Pro Wrestling, and I was invited to the Playboy Mansion. I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe it. Amazing. And I saw Billy Kidman there. It was Tori Wilson's, I think, cover issue. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, like Billy Kidman's right there. And I went up to him and I said, what is your best advice for someone coming up? I just started at Ultimate Pro Wrestling, and it was the best advice ever. It sounds very simple, but sometimes the simplest advice is the best. And it was stick with it. And I was like, that's it? Stick with it? But, however, do you have any idea how many people I watched quit?
Yeah.
I've seen so many people, and it's because of, for you, I got this gig with this television show. I got this gig with comedy, a girlfriend, a relationship, family, all this stuff gets in the way sometimes, and you forget what you really want and where you want to go. So sticking with it was like the best advice I ever got. You know what another great advice I got, which wasn't wrestling, it was for acting. I was doing my first movie, Marine 3 Homefront, another plug. But I was doing my first movie, and I was a lead in it. And I was like, man, I'm really nervous. I want to do well. I want to do the greatest thing. And who do I know that is, an actor? The Rock. So I text The Rock and I said, hey man, do you have any advice for me? Not a minute went by, and he called me and started telling me, and we talked for an hour. And
That's amazing.
After that conversation, I was so cool, calm, collected, and ready and motivated.
Yeah.
Like, he's so motivating when he speaks. And the thing that I took the most out of it is he just said, just be natural. And it sounds easy, right? Mm. But when you have 5 cameras on you and you have to hit a spot and you have these lines and this dialogue and all this stuff, you forget that sometimes the easiest thing to do is be natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do that very well, Ron, by the way.
Appreciate it.
So you have that down.
I'm working on it.